Hey everybody, Devan Kortan back here with some more traditional jazz guitar tips for you. Today we're going to be talking about voicings. Now these are some voicings that I use every single day and every single time I pick up the guitar. And specifically we're going to be talking about a very popular chord progression in jazz. You can't go very far without seeing it. It's called the 1-6-2-5. Let's dive right in. Now I know this is going to vary from a lot of player to player about what they think is essential, but I'm just going to give you a real quick crash course. I'm going to assume that you've got your bar chords down, your cowboy chords down, but now it's really time to start jumping into the jazz language, and I'm going to show you what's called a 1-6-2-5. That's what we're going to start with today. And that basically means, so if you assign numbers to each of the scale degrees, that's how we get our 1-6-2-5. So 1 meaning is going to be our home bass, in this case C major, and then 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's going to be A, so in this case it's going to be A minor, and then 2, C is 1, that means D is 2, D minor 7th, and G7, which is going to be our 5. And this is an incredibly popular chord progression in jazz. I've Got Rhythm, and well, so many others. And so I'm going to show you a couple variations on this, on these voicings, but let's dive right in with C major. So this is not exactly a bar chord. It's going to look like one to you, but I'm going to take my index finger, I'm going to put it on the 3rd fret of the A string for C. I'm going to take my ring finger, I'm going to put it on the 5th fret of the D string for our G, that's 5, and then with our middle finger grab the 4th fret on the G string rather, that's B, and then we're going to grab E up here with our pinky, that's going to be on the 5th fret of the B string. So you're going to notice it's going to look a lot like if you know this bar chord. We're just lowering down the root to get that lovely major 7th sound. And I'm not playing either of the E strings. I'm not playing either of these outside strings. That's very important. In the style, you're rarely going to be playing all 6 strings at once, especially if you're playing with a band. Now moving on to our 6th chord. This one is, I like to play it with 2 fingers, depending on, but they've got these hams, these fingers, so I can't really fit all these fingers on a bunch of strings, but so I play it with 2 fingers. Basically, I grab with my index finger the A on the low E string on the 5th fret, and then on the D, the G, and the B strings, I use my 2nd finger to bar across. And again, I'm skipping a couple strings, in this case the A string and the high E string. So I'm just playing these 4 strings. And it gives us this lovely minor 7th sound with the G and the voicing there. And now the next chord is going to be another minor 7th chord, this time D minor 7th. It's kind of a funky looking one, but I use this voicing all the time. So we're going to take our middle finger, put it on the 5th fret of the D string, or the A string for D, and then we're going to grab F with our index finger on the 3rd fret of the D string, and then we're going to grab, this is the 7th, C on the 5th fret of the G string, and then on the 6th fret of the B string, we're going to grab F again. So we've got 2 Fs in this voicing, but that's all right. Again, not playing any of the E strings, the outside strings. We're not playing those. Okay, and now for our 5 chord, we're going to have G7, and so I'm going to, if you know this chord, or if you know this 7th chord, basically it's a deconstructed version of that. So we're going to take our index finger, put it on the 3rd fret of the E string for our G. We're going to get our F, our 7th, with our 2nd fret on the 3rd fret of the D string, and then we're gonna actually skip over to the B string. We're gonna put our 3rd finger down on the 3rd fret of the B string, so all on the 3rd fret here, and we're gonna take our pinky and we're just gonna plop it, we're gonna kind of stretch over to the 4th fret of the G string, and that's gonna be B, our 3rd of the chord. We get that kind of spicy sound, the dominant 7th sound there. And then it will resolve back to 1, C major 7th. And there you go. You have your first jazz chord progression with a bunch of great voicings. Now I want you to practice these really slow. Make sure there are no extra strings happening, no buzzing, good form. You're going to use these progressions all the time. And since they don't use any open strings, you can play them anywhere on the neck. I can easily transpose to D flat, to D, to E flat. I can even play it A flat up on the top of the neck. You can really do anything you want with these voicings. I use them all the time. And again, for that A minor voicing, if you've got smaller fingers than me, you can also play those 3 notes like that. But as you can see, I'm really working hard to get all those guys in there. So just use this one. Now, once you have this down, we can work on some variations of these chords. I really love this C major 7th voicing, but I find when I'm playing rhythm in a rhythm section, along with the bass player and the drummer, I just, like, that's cool. But you have that tension in there, and it really does not sound settled. And so what we do, especially in the context of early jazz, is we actually, instead of a major 7th, we have a major 6th chord. And so I'll show you a couple of my favorite voicings for this. So up here, we have a chord that looks like this. Oh, this is a Django chord. This is a really shimmery, nice voicing. I love this voicing. I use it all the time. So we're gonna have, with our 2nd finger, C on the 3rd fret of the A string, E, which is gonna be the 2nd fret of the D string with our index finger. We're gonna bar our index finger across, grab A on the 2nd fret of the G string. And with our 3rd finger, we're gonna grab the 9th of the chord on the 3rd fret of the B string. Really nice. And if you want, you can add the 5th by barring your 3rd finger across like this, or you can grab it with your pinky like that. And not to make this too confusing, but if you, this is also a multi-purpose chord, because depending on what your root is, you can actually use this as a G major 6/9 voicing as well. So depending on what your root is, you can kind of use the same voicing for 2 chords. And then if we want C major with that voicing, we can also play it up here, on the starting on the 8th fret. That's really useful. Also, another great 6th chord voicing I use all the time is this guy. I'm just going to throw this in here real fast. 2nd finger on the 8th fret of the E string, the 6th with our index finger on the 7th fret of the D string. We're going to grab the 5th with our 3rd fret on, or with our 3rd finger on the 8th fret of the B string, and then we're going to grab the 3rd with our pinky on the 9th fret of the G string. So that's a really punchy voicing right there. We really like that. Anyway, got on a little bit of a tangent there, but so we have this voicing instead of this one for C major. You can either play a 6/9 or a major 7th there. Totally up to you. For this guy, a nice variation I like is to throw a 9th on top with our pinky. That sounds really nice. It's gonna sound like this. Yeah, and what you'll do is you'll just make that voicing we learned earlier, and just with your pinky, you're gonna go a half or a whole step up on on the high E string. On the 7th fret, gonna grab that B. That sounds really nice. And we can make the next chord a 9th chord as well, D minor 9. So we have this guy right here. All we have to do to make this sound even prettier is we're gonna scoot our pinky down 1 fret. Nice, that sounds really nice with the 7th and the 9th right next to each other there. And then instead of going all the way like this to this G7, well, this is a really nice voicing. What you can do is actually just grab the first 3 notes of that voicing, so these guys, and we're gonna keep our pinky planted there on the E. Grab the 3rd fret of the high or low E with our index, the 3rd fret of the D with our 2nd finger. With our 3rd finger, we're gonna grab the B on the 4th fret of the G string, and we're gonna keep our pinky there on the E on the 5th fret of the B string. Ooh, that's a 13th voicing. That sounds really nice if you want to be really fancy. And now once we resolve, once we're getting ready to resolve to our 1 chord, C major, lower that pinky even 1 more half step. Nice, you get an augmented 5th there. Back to C major. Oh, that's so nice. Ah, you're well on your way to playing jazz already. Thanks for watching. Happy practicing. I so hope you learned something. And if you want to learn more great voicings, check out my video I did on chord soloing. I've got a lot more spicy voicings over there for you to check out. Also, I did a transcription of an Al Casey solo, which with even more great voicings. So happy practice.